Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Well, the National Farm Machinery Show was last week in Louisville, Kentucky, and I always go to that show to go around to the major manufacturers and see what's new in their smaller tractors, the kind that most folks like me and most of you that watch my channel own. And went around to all the manufacturers this year. Didn't see a whole lot new. There's a couple of manufacturers did have some things, one with some new models and another with a change in color. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Most of what I saw at this show were changes in the bigger tractors and combines. The farm market has been really strong the last few years, and a lot of the manufacturers have put emphasis on developing the bigger end of their product line, and that was definitely in evidence at the National Farm Machinery Show this year in 2024. First stop that I did was at the Kubota booth, and I talked to one of their product marketing managers, and he showed me this LX tractor. And this LX series has been a popular seller for Kubota. They've done some updates to it. They put a deluxe seat on it with armrests, which is a nice change. And they've gone to LED headlights, which if you're running a tractor after dark, that's great. That's a great change. He told me the main thing they're doing with their LX line and some of the other tractors in their line is working to improve hydrostats. He said some of the customer complaints from folks that own small tractors with hydros are when you work them, the hydrostat is noisy. And he said Kubota engineers have spent a lot of time making their hydros quieter. And he said this LX series tractor had the new quieter hydro on it, and that's going to be rolled out in some other lines. It's something I can't show you because it was a static display, but he says you'll notice a big difference if you're in the tractor seat and working the tractor. Next, I went to the John Deere booth, and John Deere made big news last year when they actually pulled out of the National Farm Machinery Show. Now, the Deere product was still there, but they've turned that show operation over to one of their dealers who has several stores around the Louisville area. And they were there this year, and I did find a John Deere representative, and I asked him if they had anything new in small tractors this year, and he said, we have a new zero-turn lawnmower. Well, that's not a tractor, but that's what they had new on their booth. Now, they did come out with I think it was their model 5075, 75 horsepower tractor right after the show last year, and they had that on display. That's a fairly new product for them, but otherwise there wasn't much new with the green folks. Next stop was Massey Ferguson and AGCO, and they've got a lot going on in the bigger tractor world, but no new models this year on small tractors. They were showing their existing line. The person I talked to there said they've got some new models coming in 2025 that will be ready for the show next year. My next stop at the show was at the Case booth, and Case is putting a lot of emphasis on big tractors and combines. They're kind of known as a big tractor and combine company. They had no compact tractors on display in their main booth. They did in a secondary booth, but they've got no new products. And I went from there to New Holland, and they had a new combine on display that's massive. It's as big as your house is. It was getting a lot of interest from farmers, but no new models in the smaller tractor area. Next, I went to the TYM booth, and the folks at TYM are shooting at a market that a lot of the smaller tractor manufacturers are trying to get into, and that's the mid-range tractor line. Tractors mostly for hay producers from 70 to 90 horsepower. And the TYM folks told me that they unveiled a couple of tractors last year at the show that were kind of prototypes, and they weren't able to get those to dealers last year, but they're on the way to dealers now, and they're putting more emphasis on them. So these two big tractors are the ones that they were talking about. Nothing new in the smaller line for TYM. The next booth I went to was that of Kioti. And Kioti is doing the same thing that TYM is. They're putting a lot of emphasis in the mid-range market. They had a new prototype there in their RX series, and the big change on it was a buddy seat, which is a nice feature. And then on their CS series, they put a deluxe seat on those, and that was kind of a needed change, but no new models for the folks at Kioti. Well, my next stop was at Mahindra's booth, and Mahindra's got some new products, and the big news with them is their smaller tractors, their subcompacts, and some of the tractors under 26 horsepower up until now were made by TYM and rebranded Mahindra. Well, that's all changed. They've got their own tractor now made in a Mahindra plant, and they unveiled a subcompact line in 1100 series with two models at 23 and I think it's 25 or 26 horsepower. The big claim to fame on these is side-by-side hydro pedals, which is nice. They've got the deluxe seat that other tractors in the line share, and they've got a tilt and telescoping steering wheel, which if you're really tall or really short, you'll love that feature. They've also got improved hydraulic flow, which will make the loader work faster, and improved lift capacity. Now they also unveiled a bigger series above a subcompact but under 26 horsepower, two models there, the 2100 series, and I think they're 23 and 26 horsepower. They share some of the same improvements as the subcompacts I just talked about, but they've also got a 26 horsepower tractor with cabin air that they're very excited about. They think that'll open some doors for them. Finally today, one of the bigger surprises at the show was LS. They've made some cosmetic changes to the tractors and changed some horsepower, not anything major, but they changed color. And I noticed it immediately when I walked on the lot. I'm like to the LS guys, are these a different color than they used to be? And they said yes. Every tractor on their lot but one was the new color, and it's a more vibrant, deeper blue than the old lighter blue that they had. And of course, they supply tractors for New Holland on some of the models, and I was wondering if that was partially because they want one product and they put different decals on it and it's either a New Holland or an LS. Don't know the answer to that, but it's definitely a different color, and you put them side by side, you can tell a big difference. So that was a very noticeable change. So that's what I saw new at the National Farm Machinery Show. If you ever get a chance to go to that show and you're a machinery geek like I am, it's a great show. You don't want to miss it. It was probably a kind of a light year for new innovation unless you're Mahindra or LS. Some big changes there, but everybody else pretty much has what they had last year. Appreciate you watching my videos. Here's a couple other videos you might want to watch. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with some cool items for sale for the tractor owner that help support my channel. And here's a place to subscribe, and you want to do that. That helps me out if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.